Good morning, podcasters. Are you looking to reach a new audience? Of course you are. That's why you're here. Let's talk about advertising your podcast on the front page of the internet. Hello, my friends. I am Fuzz Martin, and this is Good Morning Podcasters. We are only a dozen episodes away from 50. I guess that's still a fair number of episodes that we need to record to get to 50, but we're getting close. We hear a lot about advertising your podcast on Facebook. We hear a lot about promo swaps. We hear about advertising on Instagram and a number of different platforms, but we rarely hear about advertising on Reddit. So over the last couple of months, I experimented with paid Reddit ads, and I'm going to share that experience with you on this episode. Before getting into how it's done, I just have to say that I was blown away by the simplicity of the Reddit ads interface. Compared to Meta's Ads Manager, LinkedIn, Google, and Twitter, the Reddit ads interface is very clean, sparse. However, it's also kind of hard to find a few things that are hidden, but it's still a lot easier to navigate than some of the other platforms. All right, getting started. If you're already on Reddit, it's really easy. Just click on the little megaphone icon in the menu, and then you click Create Campaign, and you, my friend, are off and running. One thing I will say is if you accidentally click a back button, you got to start all over. It doesn't save your progress, which is annoying. And it happened to me a number of times, even just putting together this episode. But once you got it going, you're going to want to set your objective for the campaign. You can choose from brand awareness and reach. That's a cost per thousand style of billing. You can set your objective to be web traffic, which is cost per click. You can set it to conversions as the goal. That's also a cost per click billing setup. And finally, you can either do cost per video view or app installs, which is another per click objective. So again, you have the options of brand awareness and reach, driving web traffic, getting conversions on your website, cost per video, or app installs. Once you've selected the one that you're going to choose, then you set your ad group. Here's where you select your audience. You can either use the Reddit audience, pixel retargeting, which is where you retarget people who have visited your website, custom audiences, which allows you to upload an email list, and then it matches users against which emails they use to log into Reddit, or engagement retargeting, and that's for people who have interacted with your ads on Reddit. For the sake of this episode, we're going to just stick with the Reddit audience for our targeting. And once you have that selected, you can pick your interests of the audience that you're trying to target. They have a whole list of them. By the way, if you're looking for podcasts, people who like podcasts, go to entertainment and scroll down. There's also a music and audio listing, and they're not in alphabetical order, but I will assure you, if you scroll down, you will find the podcast's interest. You can also select specific subreddits to target, and that's one of the things that I did for my ad sets for both of them. And you can choose whether you want your ads to show in the feed, in the Reddit feed, or in comment strings of conversations, or in both. Once you've selected that, you can set your budget. I ran two different campaigns. The first was $10 a day for 7 days. The second I thought was $10 a day for 7 days, but I forgot to set the end date and ended up going 16 days. But it's okay. I have an LLC, and I'll write it off next time I do taxes for 2023. Then on the next screen, you get to put in your ad creative. You can choose a post that you have on your Reddit channel already, and you can sponsor that. Or you can upload a video and photo, add your text, add your link. You can create a carousel of a number of different images, or you can just create a text ad. Boring. Once you've got all that created, then you submit your ad for approval, and you're off and running. Now, one thing I ran into in both campaigns was I wanted to do an A/B test between a number of different ads, but I could not for the life of me find out how to add new ads to a campaign. Then while I was putting this episode together, I found how you do it. You go to your ad group, and there's a completely unintuitive little 3 dots in the spreadsheet style layout. You click the 3 dots, and then it says new ad. It's pretty simple once you know where it is. Their documentation, however, is garbage. So here is how I ran both of my ad campaigns for Good Morning Podcasters. First of all, for both sets, I only ran my ads in the United States, Ireland, the United Kingdom, and Canada. And I only ran the ads in the subreddits, our podcasters, our podcast, our podcasts, podcasting, podcast guests, and the podcast guest exchange subreddits. Again, my campaigns were set to $10 a day. And the first one, I just ran in the feed. I set it to maximize clicks, and I put $1 per click cap on the cost per click. The ads ran December 13th through the 19th. I spent a total of $60.80. That got me 89 clicks at a rate of 68 cents per click. My effective cost per 1,000 impressions was $1.41, which is really good. And the first campaign had 43,205 impressions. So it was okay. The cost per click I felt was a little high, but it was lower than that $1 per click cap. So then when I went to experiment with the second campaign, I also set it to maximize clicks, but I put a 50-cent cost per click cap on that campaign. And again, I forgot to change the end date, so it ran for 16 days. I spent a total of $158.62 on that campaign, but it had 243,791 impressions. It had an effective cost per 1,000 of 65 cents compared to the $1.41 CPM that I had on the first campaign. I had 586 clicks, and I dropped my cost per click down to 27 cents per click. Again, greatly improved over the first campaign. I will say it is more expensive than some Facebook and Instagram campaigns that I've run, but not by much. Was it worth it? The first campaign underperformed because it was my first time. I didn't quite optimize the creative sizes or styles, and I only chose to run in feed instead of also in conversation. The second campaign was much more successful. I have definitely seen an increase in traffic and listenership since running my Reddit ad campaign. Now, I'm not seeing the growth that I saw when the campaign was running, so I can tell you that the ads were working. I would say it's fallen off by about an average of 5 to 8 new listens per episode since I turned off the Reddit ad campaign. So nothing significant, but it definitely was making an impression, so to speak. Both of these campaigns were targeted to a very narrow set of Reddit users into a very narrow set of subreddits. So I will say that given that very narrow audience, it did connect well with the relatively low number of users that were available in the audience that I selected. Will I run more campaigns? We'll see. I might try it next with Shanna's educational podcast, the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, next. If you are looking to get started with Reddit ads, again, it's very, very easy to get started. Just have an idea of what interests you want to target and or which subreddits you want your ads to appear in. And also be sure to create multiple ads and test them against one another. That also includes the text that accompanies your ads in order to see what's performing best. And then after a couple of days, turn off the ad or ads that aren't performing as well and just run with the higher performing creative. You can just toggle off the switch for the ads that aren't running as well. Running Reddit ads is a lot easier than Facebook or Instagram ads. They're much cheaper than LinkedIn or Twitter ads. And overall, I kind of like the experiment. Just remember to set your campaign end date. That'll do it for today's episode of Good Morning Podcasters. If you have additional questions about my Reddit ads experience, you can email me, fuzz@goodmorningpod.com. That is Fuzz at goodmorningpod.com. You can email me any question that you have about podcasting or life in general. I'm happy to answer anything that I can. Also, over on goodmorningpod.com, you can leave a voice message for me, and you might hear your question live on the air. Even though this is neither live nor on the air, but you can hear your voice on a podcast. All right, cool. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And join Jeff Townsend and me for another bonus episode of Podcasting Sucks tomorrow morning. That's Saturday morning, right here in the Good Morning Podcasters feed. It's a really fun episode. We're going to talk about podcasting horror stories. With that, have yourself a great weekend, and I'll talk to you real soon, right here on Good Morning Podcasters.